Rumbleverse is built off the idea of being the last person standing out of 40 other players, and to do so it seems like it would take hundreds of hours of time played. But what if I told you there was a way you can instantly improve as well as increase your chances of winning tenfold? So in this video I'll break it down in 10 easy to follow tips and tricks to do so. So starting off, let's talk about where you want to drop at. Preferably you want to land on the outer sides of the zone so you can minimize third parties, because people only have 9 seconds to be outside of the zone. So more than likely nobody's going to push you from the zone, especially early game. And in addition to land on the outer sides of the zone, you want to land next to a spot that has a decent amount of crates. And that actually leads into the next tip on what loot you want to look for. And this game can be confusing because there's a bunch of different items that spawn out of these crates, but there are 3 that take priority over everything else. Number 1 on that list would be the power-up jugs. So there's 3 different ones. They have green for extra health, they have yellow for extra stamina, and red for extra power. These jugs increase your base stats and they actually last for the whole match. But keep in mind you have to choose wisely because you can only take up to 8. And going on to number 2, the things that you want to look for are the books. This is how you're able to use stronger moves for your L1 and R1 buttons. And the last item you want to look for is the chicken, because if you don't have any health, then you lose. So you'll definitely need a way to regen your health when you're in and out of battles. So moving on to the next tip, you always want to maintain high ground because you don't want to catch any flying elbows from people on the buildings jumping down at you. And along with that, you don't want to get snuck up on somebody with their superstar power up, because that can be a one-hit KO. So if you maintain that high ground, you'll be able to better protect yourself as well as see incoming threats. So being that this is a battle royale, you can't avoid fights forever. So you got to learn the attack priority system. If 2 players hit each other at the same time with the same type of attack, then they'll clash and knock each other back momentarily. But if they aren't the same attack, then the priority system determines which one actually goes through the other. And if you actually want to look at that priority list, just press pause during the middle of a game and it'll show you the exact list. So since we're on the topic of fighting, when you're actually dealing damage to enemy players, on the bottom right corner of your screen you have a bar. And when this bar fills up from dealing damage to other players, you'll actually earn perks that do a variety of different things. For example, there's a meditative perk that if you stand still, then your health will automatically regen. Also, while you're fighting and dealing damage to other players, your superstar meter will fill up naturally. This is useful in many ways because it can bail you out if you're low on health or stamina, because when you activate it, you regen health quickly. Along with that, you have an option for a super attack, which has a greater chance of actually getting a one-hit KO. So moving on to the next tip is that you want to pay attention to your stamina. You can regen your stamina just by holding your guard in place. Also, when you get knocked down and you actually stay on the ground, you regen stamina a lot more quickly. Stamina is important because if you need to run, you need stamina. If you need to climb, you need it as well. And most importantly, you need stamina to perform your fight moves. So moving on to the next tip is that you want to be careful for throwable items. Even though this is a melee style battle royale, you can throw items like bats, boxes, street signs, and even chairs. You can also use this to your advantage if you want to weaken an opponent before you actually start the fight. It can also be helpful because if you have an enemy that's trying to run from you and heal up, you can disrupt that process and make them drop whatever they're carrying when you throw the item at them. And moving on to the last tip, when you actually make it to the final zone, pick and choose your fights. There are a lot of players in this game that'll take high ground and just wait up there until the 2 other teams weaken each other. And then when it's finally down to that 1v1, they'll jump down with full health while you're weakened. So towards the end of the game, you don't want to get tunnel vision, and just make sure you're aware of who's all left. And who knows, because if you have the opportunity to wait and actually sit up top until that 1v1 is done, then you can jump down for the easy win and just clean up whoever's left. So that right there is my 10 tips to help you instantly improve. I know there's a lot to go over in this game, and I plan to make more tip videos. So if you guys do want to see more of this, make sure you guys drop a like on the video and subscribe as well so you don't miss this type of content.